of the things that really gets me down are the constant complaints from gamers that we never see any original ideas in video games anymore. But when something genuinely original comes along, those same gamers end up leaving those original games on the shelf. Often, some of the best games are ahead of their time or only appreciated many years later, and Beyond Good and Evil is exactly that sort of game. Released in 2003, this game did a lot of new and interesting things, or at least did old things in new and interesting ways. It was in many ways a game that defied description, but damn it, I'm gonna try anyways.
Not bad for an old fart.
Beyond Good and Evil is a third-person action-adventure game. That's where the generic labels just have to stop though, since this is a game that experiments with a mixing of many different game types. During your time with this game, you'll end up playing in racing segments, platforming, puzzle solving, beat-em-up combat, stealth sneaking, and photography. Yep, that's right, I said photography. I'm sure the Life is Strange fanbase already has their ears perked up now. Beyond Good and Evil easily swoops between different game types of gameplay, and you're never really sure what kind of experience you're going to have next. The gameplay itself is slick, and generally the game is still fun to play, although some of the menu systems and few other elements feel just a little bit clunky by modern standard. The game is set on the planet Hillis in the year 2435. The planet reminds me a bit of Star Wars in the sense that it shows a bunch of weird and varied species all living together like it's perfectly normal. The main character of the game is our heroine Jade, who's a journalist and a bit of a shutterbug. She basically takes her camera with her everywhere and is as noisy a reporter as Lois Lane ever was. Jade also knows Kung Fu, or the closest thing to it on Hyas. She may be a small woman with way too much green clothing, but she can hold her own against anyone. She's also joined by her Uncle Paige, who is some sort of, pig man thing, and they all live happily in a lighthouse that's also an orphanage. I guess you can tell by now that this game is pretty much out there when it comes to the imagination of the creators. As fantastical as the story is, you quickly get pulled into the world of the game, and you can suspend your disbelief without much effort. It's just so easily to get sucked into this universe, and leaving it is always a little sad. One of the things that stood the test of time the best for Beyond Good and Evil is its art design. This game has a very cartoony, almost Pixar or Disney-like feel to it. The art direction is bold and confident. If you like the look of games from the N64 days or from franchises like Ratchet & Clank or Jak and Dexter, there's much to love in the art style of Beyond Good and Evil. This is a game that just missed that brown, grim, dark art fad that hit when the high-definition generation of consoles came out, and it's still a refreshing relief from games with much narrower color palettes. And I have to say something about the music too. The game score is very unique and beautiful. The music can be a little eccentric at times, but it really feels like a part of the overall charm of the game. The whole atmosphere of this game would be impossible if it wasn't for the carefully put together music. And for all of its cartoony goodness, the plot of Beyond Good and Evil is actually quite dark, thematically speaking. Seriously, this game deals with some pretty dark themes, including human trafficking, government conspiracies, and mind control. The game also doesn't just throw happy endings at you either. It's a pretty good story even by cinematic-heavy modern game standards, and I really think that this game could have been successful as an animated feature rather than a game that not many people seemed willing to try at the time. The good news is that if you want to play Beyond Good and Evil today, it's pretty easy to get a hold of, and you have quite a bit of choices when it comes to platform. The game was originally released for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and original Xbox, but both the PS3 and Xbox 360 have received high-definition updates to the title. There's even a PC version available for digital download via Uplay. The Xbox One also has listed this game as one of its backwards compatible titles. But honestly, for once, the console versions are probably better, so if you have a PS3 or Xbox 360 or Xbox One, get it there. The PC version really just does not play nice with modern operating systems like Windows 10, I'm afraid. Without spoiling it for anyone, the game ends without resolving everything and clearly left a door open for a sequel. And that's a sequel that fans like myself have been waiting for since 2003. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has taken on a sort of reputation reserved for games like The Last Guardian. At the time, the developers and publishers didn't really want to come out and say that the game had been cancelled, but they didn't want to confirm it either. Except for the fact that miracles do in fact happen, and just like Final Fantasy XV, Last Guardian, and Kingdom Hearts 3, Good and Evil 2 is actually happening, which absolutely blew my mind when I was at E3 this year. But in the end, even with the announcement of this sequel, I really don't care. They say that the game is just a long way from being released, but the trailer concept did look stunning, and no matter what, we can always have the original Beyond and Good and Evil to show that original games can be amazing, fun and fresh, and gamers will still end up buying yearly games instead. I know it's sad, but hopefully this time when the next game comes out, and if it is good, don't let it be a critical hit but a commercial flop again. And let's just pray that Ubisoft does the original game justice.